when he was away from the one he loved, he sat down and wrote these words.
Alright, so it's another brisk morning in the windy city of Chicago, and today we are going to work on the Supra, as we were yesterday. But one thing to note is that we are not working on wiring today because wiring is boring. We're actually pulling the turbo off. So we're finally getting around to yanking this turbo off of this car, and might have a new turbo coming on sometime soon. That'll be a surprise. But basically, main thing is I need to get at that wastegate so I can change the wastegate spring, and so turbo's got to come off, as well as, you know, everything connected to it. So let's get started. So first things first, we've got to remove the heat shield from the turbo. These things are held together with wires from one side to the other, so they can be a bit fiddly to get off. Too hot for turbo.
It's scorched!
Yeah, thanks, Gordon. After that, we can start removing all the bits attached to the turbo. Here, I'm checking the turbo for shaft play or other signs of damage, and it looks fine. Next, the oil lines on the top and bottom of the turbo need to be removed, as well as the downpipe. The downpipe is held on with just one V-band clamp, so it's not too bad of a job. After that, we can pull off the vacuum lines from the front of the turbo that the wastegate and boost controller use for reference. The turbo itself is bolted to the exhaust manifold with 4 nuts. 2 of them are fairly easy to access, but the other 2, well, let's just say that every socket extension and swivel attachment that I own was used to get at these things, but it was to no avail. So, as with most turbochargers, the back 2 bolts are pretty much impossible to get to. There's one there that we're looking at, and then there's one back right over there. And it's so close to the V-band, or rather the flange, that I can't get a wrench or anything. I don't even remember how we put this damn thing on. In the end, it was the sketchy shade tree mechanic method of finagling a wrench on and hammering it that cracked the nut loose. And it was while I was fiddling with that back nut that I noticed something strange. So I was just working on the back bolt there, and then I kind of touched over here, and then I touched over there, and it was all black. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why is my finger so black? So I reached in to the turbine housing, and I think that means that this turbo is cactus. Like, the oil seals are completely gone. So I guess it's good timing then that we're getting a new turbo. Let's get the dump pipe off then, so we can get access to that bolt and finally get this turbo off. Now we can see what kind of damage has been dealt. Taking the dump off was as simple as removing the V-band that connected it to the mid-pipe. That's when I realized I forgot to remove the O2 sensor, so I quickly pulled it off and inspected it. This much oil is bound to do a little bit of damage to your wideband O2 sensor. After that, I yanked the downpipe off, and what I found inside was so disgusting, I had to try very hard not to vomit uncontrollably. Look at this thing. This thing is black. That's all oil. This whole thing. Entire downpipe. It's literally coated with foil. It's a bad turbo if I ever saw one. Okay, gonna run to the store and grab a couple of things. After pretending to be Casey Neistat for 10 minutes, I got back to the garage and started pulling anything else attached to the turbo off. The last thing to go was the intercooler pipe, which is held on with a V-band clamp located behind the front bumper. And finally, we could pull off this nasty, dirty, leaky old snail in preparation for the shiny new one. Alright, so here is our turbocharger. In case you didn't know, the way turbocharger works is exhaust gas comes through here. On a non-turbo car, this exhaust gas will just go out into the world. But it comes into here, spins a little turbine. Turbine's connected via shaft to this side. This side spins and intakes air. When this spins, it compresses that air so it's more dense. And then it comes through this turbine here, this compressor housing, out as boosted air from this side into your intercooler, into your engine. This thing is an oily mess. The issue with this turbocharger though is if you look on this side, it is completely full of oil. And that means that the seals inside that protect this side, or rather that separate this side from the middle side actually has an oil feed to keep it lubricated. The seal that's between these has gone bad. So that means that the oil is leaking into here, which explains why it was so smoky on startup. This oil is coming in, burning here. It's going into the wastegate. It's causing all sorts of issues. It's all drippy. There's oil everywhere. But turbo is out. Next thing is the wastegate, which is actually what my main goal was for today. But I'm glad that I found this because now I know this turbo is bad, and there will be a new turbo getting plopped onto that manifold very soon. Now we could get at that wastegate. So here is the wastegate. It's a big honking wastegate, huh? You can see, look at this, complete, just full of oil. Maybe next time I'll remember to use an oil pan. Looks like I'll be picking all the washers and nuts out of that and then cleaning it up. So, fun. But we got everything we needed out. There's the wastegate and there's our turbocharger. So our work for today is complete. And guys, that's all we got time for today. Hopefully in the next few days we'll get the new turbo and we'll get the wastegate springs we need for the wastegate. And hopefully we'll get all this back together, get this thing on a tow truck and over to the tuner to get this thing tuned and hopefully making big power. There's a couple other small things we have to do, but for right now I am completely out of it. It's way too late and I gotta clean up this big oil spill. So see you guys later.